All right, everybody. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever it is you tune in. Hope all is going well with you. Um, and if you are new, which I can imagine you might feel new to it's the most of us after like being on like a month and a half long hiatus. Welcome. I am Noah, and this over here is Trey.
Yo, yo, yo.
So is what we'll start off with. And speaking of which, we'll get some other people trickling in here. So glad to have you with us, Smooth C78. There's some other people that I see, kind of clinging in the background. So just know that I recognize you. So I mentioned that this is a return of a game show that we had last year. We did this a little bit later in the season around that time, but we had more people to join. This is a bit makeshift, but for who we have here, we can still make it work. But this all kind of depends on what you guys want to throw at us. So if you're not familiar, if you weren't a part of this last year, this is called Cut, Keep, Squad, Cut, Squad, Keep, whatever you want to keep. It's like an iteration of the F, Marry, Kill game, or the concept of that, where it's just like, you'll take three people, and you'll do one to this one, you'll do one to the other one, you'll do one to that one. So for this one, we'll be taking three positions, or we'll be taking three players from one position group, and then this person will have to cut, this person will have to keep, this person will have to put to the practice squad. You guys will be giving us the names, and then based on like who's more accurate than the other one, I'll try to keep a note tab on somewhere. Probably should have prepared, but like D. Coleman, who says preparations when we can use the element of surprise? So glad to have you with us. Glad to have more people joining us as we trickle in. Let's give ourselves a little bit update. We were kind of talking, me and Trey were kind of talking a little bit before we started the stream. Just kind of like basically reintroducing ourselves again. Because I don't know why, but like this month and a half just feels a bit longer. And I think it's because of like,
There's no content available, man. Like the draft's over with, free agency's over with. The best free agent out there is a washed DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, there's just like, look at NFL Network. They've been reusing the same concept for 3 weeks now. There's nothing new. I downloaded the the NFL Plus app. And the newest article they had about really just anything that was important was 4 days ago. Unless some breaking news trade happens, which probably won't.
Now, unless you guys have been paying attention to what Torrey McElhaney and Scott Bair have been posting on the actual Falcons website. What they have is they just came up with like 2 or 3 days ago, which was one burning question for every Falcons position group post minicamp. Part 1, the offense. Part 2, the defense. What are some of the main takeaways from the Falcons mandatory minicamp? Things like that. If we want to, we can kind of get into that a little bit more. So we just have the Braves are good this season, holding the summer down. But NFL-wise, yeah, crickets. I was watching this one Good Morning Football post about like the different tiers of the NFC, and I'm waiting for other people to make videos about like us and see like how off they are certain things. And it was like, so they had like the top dogs, they had the hovering, they had the to be determined, and then they had their shock the world. Yeah, of course they put us at like bottom of like shock the world or whatever, because what do you expect?
Can I say this? I watched that video yesterday, and what really ticked me off about everything is, and this is why I know people don't really pay attention to Atlanta sports. So as we know, it was the Bucks, the Cardinals. Who else was in there?
Carolina. Surprisingly, the Packers.
The Packers. Devin McCourty had the guts to say that after everything we've done this offseason, Jesse Bates, David Onyemata, Calais Campbell, Bijan, Matt Collins, Jonnu Smith, Matthew Bergeron, after all those signings, draft picks, all of that, he said that we were the worst team and shock the world. Worse than the
Now,
Buccaneers.
I I will also have to stop you on that because my goodness, what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. The loud guy.
Um, I was about to say Peter Schrager. That's
On
not
the
Peter.
no.
Um,
He wasn't there. It was Leonard Fournette. It was Devin McCourty. It was
the other girl, and
why is his name blanking on me? I think he's like the no, that's not.
he's the angry runs host.
Yeah. Why is his name blanking on me?
I
Chat,
was
help
just
me out.
thinking about it. Like I was literally
Why?
just thinking about it because I was about to say he actually said something. I mean, it wasn't like they're gonna.
I think he corrected him. I think he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you don't mean the Falcons, you mean the Cardinals, right?" And then he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah."
Yeah. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. It's just like he's a funny guy. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh yeah, it was really entertaining.
it's just I really want people to understand how doubted we
Kyle
are.
Brandt. I was thinking of Kyle. I was thinking of a Kevin too, and then I was like,
Yeah,
why is my name thinking of like freaking Kevin Stefanski? So yeah,
yeah.
Now I can sleep tonight.
Yeah, we were like really doubted in the NFL universe because I was watching a couple Falcons videos yesterday, and these weren't like Falcons content creators, these were like football creators, and he was going over the team, and he said that, and this is what blew me. He said that our offensive line was subpar, and that the only good piece we had was Chris Lindstrom. It took me off. I'm not gonna lie, but not everyone can be so influenced and know it all about the team, and I don't expect them to. But when we go
At
on
least
that
be
little
close, man.
yeah,
Like,
at least get close. Like, but when we go on that little 5-game winning streak, and we're sitting at the top of the division around that 9-5, 10-5 spot. I don't need anybody saying, "Oh wow, we're like." I knew these guys were just gonna pop out of the world because let's be honest, the only three people that you can really say have supported the Falcons this offseason said they can really do something is Peter Schrager, Dan Orlovsky, and it's one more person I'm forgetting. But those are the really the two main people that said, man, like Desmond Ridder can like really lead this team somewhere. That defense is like kind of scary right now.
It definitely wasn't Chris Sims. I don't know why I
Oh
thought
yeah,
of him.
no. Whew, no, God, no, just no. Alvin know how the best thing he said about this team is that he liked the Jesse Bates signing. Other than that there was really nothing good he said
Whew, my goodness.
about the team.
All right. Speaking of people, what's going on, Wolf? Glad to have you with us, joining us. I did see that you made a video about like content creator beef. I have not watched it because I was too busy setting up this. So once this is done, guess the video that I'm going to be watching. Yeah. Of course there is.
I only caught I remember the scientists giving us a little speech. What was that? Was that Monday night? I think that was Monday night. I caught the last 20 minutes of it and learned a lot of stuff I didn't know because as you guys know, I'm in high school, very busy. Football workouts have been just killing me. Like these days, most of the time I really don't even be able to get to the live streams until the next day when I can pause and watch them because I'm asleep around that time or I'm busy around that time. So yeah, I try to stay in close contact with my fellow Falcon brethren and sisters.
Yeah, I have not been in the chat like recently. I was tuning into yesterday's stream with the Rex Pit and everything. I caught it like 40 minutes into it. I didn't really say anything because I just wanted to hear everyone. Because sometimes it's like, like you get too like into the discussion and it like makes you want to like join and then start speaking and then you're like kind of talking over people. So it's like, oh, gee, I just better shut up, keep it all in my thoughts and that kind of stuff. So, whew. All right, no, just me. All right, cool. Anyways, Raymond Collins, how's it going? So now that we got some people here, let's take a look at what the ticker's been saying for the last couple of minutes. So, what we're doing is you guys will submit any 3 players at a position you'd like us to talk about, and we will decide who stays, who gets saved on the practice squad, and who leaves. So, an example of that would be if I were to throw out the names of, let's say, Frank Darby, Kadero Hodge, and then right.
Now you got to put my Alabama brother in there.
It's like, all right, one of them's got to stay, one of them's got to go, one of them we can save. And I think that we got to keep in mind who's already kind of listed on the practice squad. I don't know if they give us that information right now.
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. We're starting this a bit earlier, like I said, than we did last year. So
I don't think they give us the practice squad information till like the last week of August or like the first week of September.
Yeah, it might have been like just before preseason.
Yeah, I know we did this last year.
That we got closer than we really thought. Some of us did.
Because what did we do this last year? I know we were in training camp. I know that at least. I think we were like 2 weeks into training camp, and yeah, that's all.
From my video, it says 9 months ago, right? So it wasn't a full year from now. Which could be like late August, but it just hasn't, flipped over yet. Or late July, maybe. Somewhere around there. So while you guys do some brainstorming and come up with the ideas of which names to give us, I can put up, well, I'll at least have it on the background for myself about the article that Tori McElhaney made 2 days ago, which was one burning question for every Falcons position group post minicamp part 1, the offense. That way, if you guys, want to keep in mind, like, all right, well, who is in contention for these position slots? Like, hey, who's wide receiver 2? What is our offensive line going to look like behind our starters? What's going on with the tight end group? That kind of stuff. Am I just talking to myself? That's another cool question to answer.
All right, there we go. Fun. Start lagging. Stopped lagging.
All right, cool. Thought I was going crazy.
Yeah, this it's time to get a new one. Really, it's just time to start doing these live streams on my computer after I figure out how to do all that. But another discussion for another day. So let's get this thing rolling.
All right. Tay-Bro, thank you. We will now discuss this, which is going to be kind of like in between. I guess we'll start with defense. Whatever you guys prefer.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So, we got Jalen Hawkins, we got Trey Flowers, and we got Mike Hughes.
Now, so I forgot to tell you guys this. So, yesterday when I came up with the idea to live stream, I came up with my own 53-man roster prediction. All 3 of these guys made the roster. Just letting you guys know that now. Every single one of these guys made the roster. Now, are they starting? No. Well, Mike Hughes is. So we all, as you obviously know, Mike Hughes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure. Mike Hughes is getting capped.
The starting slot?
Yes. I feel like they're gonna do Clark how they did Richie, and like kind of hold him off for half the year. Cause Mike Hughes is like I wouldn't say he's like tier 1, like just D1 all-star slot cornerback, but he can handle his business. and he blitzed him.
Well, I'm not just thinking about Clark. I'm also thinking about D. Alford.
He offered. Oh, I forgot he played slot. He played a
And
lot
not
of
only
that
that,
last
but he's
season.
been showing out really well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So,
so let me rephrase that. Okay, so out of all three of these guys, Mike Hughes has the best possibility to start. Of course, Hawkins really isn't going to start unless Richie or Jesse Bates gets hurt. So we all know that. Trey Flowers is really here for special teams, mostly to guard tight ends, be a box slot corner or a box safety, whatever you want to frame him as. So if I was going to choose to keep one, now that I really think about it, it'd probably be Hawkins. Just because his position is the least loaded out of this entire roster other than running back. And when you think about it, you have like 6 starting corners at corner. AJ, Jeff, D. Alford, Mike Hughes, Clark, and what I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, never mind. Yeah, 5 starting available corners, starting worth corners at that
and then you
position.
got some hybrids,
And then you got some hybrids that can go from safety, they can blitz, they can play zone, they can play man, they can guard a tight end. It's just they can do everything. So if I had to say the best chance to be kept would probably be Jalen Hawkins, just because and other than Jesse, there's really no other free safety as good as Jalen Hawkins on the team. Of course, you have DeMarco, but DeMarco's probably going to be – he's going to get kept, but he's probably going to be a strong safety replacement, so like a Richie replacement if he
he's
was to
going to
get
be our
hurt.
heavy hitter back
Yeah.
there. That is actually really interesting. So then, if you want to keep Hawkins, then where does Hughes go? Because I think he's the next in line here.
Yeah. Hughes – now, we all know he's not going on the practice squad, but
No,
let's say if he was, he would be on the practice squad, and I would cut Trey Flowers. Just because I think with how good Jalen Hawkins can guard tight ends, because he was pretty good at it last year. That was kind of what he did when he dropped down in the box, was he guarded tight ends. Um, I think Richie can guard tight ends. We all know D. Alford is quick enough to guard tight ends.
I question his height and
So
certain
yeah, the
throw
size thing. I
radiuses
mean,
and whatnot, but
obviously, I wouldn't be like, yeah, D. Alford, like you're the only guy that's guarding Travis Kelce on that play. But of course, we know he has the speed and the quickness for it.
and then Clark obviously will have all the technique that's needed
Yeah,
too. So
yeah. So if I had to
Ooh.
choose who would be cut out of that quarterback group between Flowers and Hughes, it'd be Flowers. Just because I think Hughes has the best chance to get starting time on that on the defense in the early part and maybe mid part of the season.
Now I like that a lot. However, I got to come up with a different answer. So, um, my one downside with Hawkins is that he was probably one of our biggest reasons so we were so bad in missed tackles last season. If he can clean that up, then sure, I think he would be a much better lock than he is, in my opinion. But Hughes, the other thing that killed us was not having any corners, right? Well, corners is one of those positions where it's like, I don't care if I have 5 or 6 of them that can all start. That is a good problem to have, and I'd like to keep it that way. And Hughes has the best potential to actually be a starter because I think he's got the most potential to remain on the field and get more snap time, whereas opposed to Hawkins, who's going to be in a 3 to 4 safety rotation. I don't see his use on the team as important right now as Mike Hughes. Granted, he's been on the team longer. He's known the players. He is not as familiar with the playbook, but then again, neither is Hughes. So they're all kind of new here. I just want to trust Hughes first. I can keep Hawkins on the practice squad. I'm sorry, Trill Flowers, you just haven't been here long enough for me to grow my anticipation for you, especially out of these 3. I think you're really the odd one out here, but that is not your fault. Nor is it the fault of the person that submitted this. So thank you for that. The next one that I see D. Coleman. I'm gonna just put this up. It was
Goldman,
Goldman,
Horn,
Horn,
and
and
TQ.
Graham.
Whew.
Brutal.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Ugh. Okay, look, so TQ. What was it? 9 games that he played last year, or was it 10? What week did he get hurt?
You kind of cut off for me a little bit.
I said, how many weeks did TQ play last year? Was it 10?
Around there, I think he was kind of off and on at the later end of the season. When was the Chargers game? Because I think that was like his
week
last
9.
significant game.
That was week 9.
Oh yeah, that was like dead center in the season.
Oh, he hurt his ankle in the Panthers game, the Thursday night game. I remember that. Yeah.
That was like the next week.
Yeah, he got his ankle rolled on that week. So yeah, but I think he showed me. I mean, he wasn't like Grady Jarrett, just dominant, but he made enough plays to tell me that if he can learn from David Onyemata and Calais Campbell and keep learning from Grady, that he's going to be pretty good when it's his time to like take over the D-line. Because of course we all know Grady Jarrett just turned 30 last year. He's turning 31 this year. Calais Campbell is
turning 30,000 years old.
50,000 years old. David Onyemata is 30. I think what is he? He's like a year younger.
I think he's also like 30.
Yeah, he just turned 30 though, so he's not turning 31 until next season. So I think he's like a year younger than Grady. But what that's trying to say is
speaking of age, like Goldman is also up here too. I think he's like 29, approaching 30 too.
Yeah, Goldman's turning 30 this year during the season. Or did he? No, I think he's 30 this year. He turned 30 this year. So saying that, Graham is like the next piece up. He's the next guy up.
Right.
Goldman will probably get put on practice squad just because I think he provides that good depth for us. If God forbid, I don't have any wood around me, but God forbid something would happen to like a David Onyemata or Calais Campbell, he could come in there and start. TQ could do the same, but I think TQ would be he'd be much better at getting production. So saying that, I would probably have to put TQ starting. I mean, well, not starting, but keep. I would probably put Goldman on. It's tough doing this because the way Timmy Horn wasn't like this dominant factor, but he was showing growth throughout the week, and the dude's only like 20. He's like mid 20 something.
Yeah, like if you want to talk about a future to build upon, I don't know if I can do that with Goldman.
Because it's like, and then he just retired last year after we signed him.
Yeah, like what has he done for me? Okay, like Horn's been on the field for us for the past like 2.5 years.
Because like now that I think about it, because the year before he retired, he kind of took a little regression. Like he had a little regression. I think he had like 20 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, like a sack. Now, Timmy Horn had basically those same numbers, but I'd expect that for Timmy Horn because he's an undrafted free agent going against some of the best O-lines in the league. So, yeah, let me rethink that. TQ is getting kept. Timmy's getting put on practice squad because I know he has the tools and the speed and the athleticism to be able to be at least a serviceable D tackle for at least the next 5 years. The only reason I'm cutting Goldman is one because he's on the wrong side of 30. He's regressing.
He's the last option.
He's literally like, well, is Calais good for the game? No, coach. We're giving them this game off. Is David good? We're week before the playoffs, coach. We're good. We got the number one. We won the division. We're the second, third seed. I think we're straight. Shoot, put Goldman in there. He ain't doing nothing. So it's just he would literally be the last option. Well, both him and Timmy would be the last option. But if you wanted to mix in the youth, with the vets, I think you keep Timmy.
See, the thing
That's
is,
a hard
do
one.
I
I,
go
I
with a
like that
different
question.
answer?
That's a hard one. That's a very hard question to do because I like on the 53-man roster. I think I kept all these guys. I kept him, Grant, and Goldman.
See, I don't know about this actually. I don't know if Golden gets claimed real quick.
And it's really because of the age factor. Like that's the thing. Like
Not even
the
that. It's
reason.
like there's certain pass rushers that are just still out there. Like, has Yannick Ngakoue got on the team yet?
No. Yeah, I think the reason he hasn't
Exactly.
gotten the team
Like,
because he's asking for too much. I think he's asking for like an $16 million, $16 million a year type contract, and nobody's gonna give him that. Granted, he's worth like $10 million a year, but dude's been on 6 different teams in 7 years, and he's only been in the
well,
league for 8 years,
he's following Gus Bradley kind of wherever he goes.
pretty much. And is Gus Bradley even on a team right now?
I think he might still be in Indy, but
I don't think he is. I think the new head coach got his own DC. Because if that was the case, he'd be back. Let's be honest. The Colts need
well,
anything they
maybe
can
his
really
like
get him.
contract expired. Gus
He was on
Bradley.
the he was on he was on the Colts last year. He was
He's still on the
on.
Colts right now,
Oh, he is.
according to my popular high school source that is Wikipedia. Yeah, they're saying he's still on the Colts coaching staff. But
I'm guessing.
yeah, the thing is with Goldman, his situation is still like it's got full of question marks for every other team outside of us. Right? Like we're the only one that like knows anything about him for the past like year. I do remember him like looking at his physique, looking at his form, like he was still trying to like get back into football shape, which is good. But whew, has he
Funny you
caught
say
up?
that. He's the only person I haven't seen in these little 2-minute hype videos they give us in OTAs and minicamp. I haven't seen this dude. I don't know if he hasn't been there. I watched all the press conferences. Arthur didn't say anything about him not being there. I remember he saying something about Jesse because of his new kid. I remember him saying something about CP that 1 week because CP trains on his own before like minicamp and OTAs and all of that. And it was one other
Yeah.
person, but it wasn't Goldman. And they showed most, if not all, of the D line, all the undrafted free agents and all that. And I seen Timmy, I seen Calais, of course, I seen Grady David, Bud Dupree, AK Malone, all those guys, and I didn't see him. So like that's the thing. Like I'm trying to wonder, like, where have you been? Like we signed you, you retire the next week, you come out of retirement, and I don't even see you in any hype videos or anything. And I don't think any. I mean, the people I talked to that went to the Falcons practice at Mercedes Benz say they didn't see him. I don't know. It's just he's just full of question marks right now. I get the talent. Like I can say like he'll get us like 2 or 3 sacks this year, like meaningful sacks. Like he'll come in there, goal line package, 3rd and 1.
Well,
Like
not only that, he's the one that's going to cause the sacks for other people.
yeah. He's a big dude. Don't get me wrong. Dude's like 6'3", 6'2", 320, 330. Like he's a massive, strong
Like that's
dude.
what
It's
we
just
need
like,
up there.
yeah. It's just like where are you gonna be at? Like when are you gonna get here? When are you like where are you at? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think I got no choice but to agree here. Like I got to keep Graham because he's our predecessor to our other 5th-round predecessor to our other late-round pick that was also a D tackle. I can't remember when Jonathan Babineau was drafted, but like we might have had like a long line of like late-round D tackles that just like emerged out of nowhere and just became really good for us. I'm hoping he's like the next in line. Horn, I at least know what I can get from him. So I like to have that on the back burners whenever I can. Goldman, he's got the least staying power here out of these 3. So the next one, well, everyone else is rattling their brains, coming up with other scenarios. Let's do Dorian Etheridge, Nate Landman, or Tate Davis at linebacker.
Hey, Noah, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, that's good. But yeah, now I like that question though, because that was like, I like the questions that like really make us think, because like all three of those players are like key factors in what this D line is going to be. And then you add Ryan Nielsen to that, and I'm like, I think Ryan Nielsen can get that untapped potential out of TQ, and he's done a lot more with a lot less like higher drafted people. Like people forget, Hendricks was a 4th-round pick. David Onyemata was like a 5th, 6th-round pick. Like a lot of like I think Shy Tuttle was like a 4th or 5th-round pick too. Like he does a
Like a
lot.
lot of their players are just like, like
Undrafted free
Carl
agents.
Granderson, for example. It's like, who are you? And yet you're still making plays out there.
I didn't even know who Shy
Like that.
Tuttle was till he stiff-armed Matt Ryan to Jesus. But then he was like, yeah, he's like a 6th-round pick that came out of some small college a couple years ago, and Ryan Nielsen turned him into some type of 6'4" beast. I'm like, oh yeah. But yeah,
So all of a
Etheridge
sudden, is
Landman.
99 stiff arm.
We're not gonna
I'm
talk
gonna
about
go
that. Let's
first
move on
here.
to
I'm gonna go first here because
Yeah.
I don't want to be caught copying your answers all the time. So with Etheridge first, how is his ACL?
I'm gonna be honest. So what did he tear? He tore that in the last week of the preseason.
It was the Jacksonville game.
Yeah, the Jacksonville game. I haven't heard much. I don't think I've heard Arthur say anything in the press conferences that they had released. I know he said something about Caleb Huntley and that he'd probably be back in like like October or November, because you know how long Achilles be taking to heal. And then he tore it in December too, so that didn't help. I know he said Kyle Pitts would be back at the start really towards like in the middle of training camp, start of training camp. I don't think he said anything about Dorian. I don't really think anybody even asked about Dorian Etheridge, actually. I know he changed his number for Bud Dupree, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
But I haven't really heard anything injury-wise or how he's doing since he tore his ACL back in.
It was the Jags preseason game.
Yeah, so like last week of August, first week of September. Yeah, last week of August. But
so
with the ACLs, they take like 9 to 12 months to heal or like really get back to strength. So, I mean, we'll probably see him in like the second preseason game. Maybe it depends on
I'd
how
say maybe like after the first quarter of the season.
Yeah.
So like maybe like after game 5.
Yeah,
it's possible. That would be like right after the London game for us.
Oh yeah. But yeah.
So, man, I'm gonna keep Etheridge there. Move on to Nate Landman. Nate Landman is
he got a lot of playing time last year. I mean, it wasn't like he was starting, but he came in some crucial situations and made some plays. And he was good on special teams too. Very good, actually.
I like him.
Yeah.
Real gritty, tough dude. Just those two basic qualities fit what we want to do. And then plus he can, whatever we can ask him to do, he can do it. Which can include cover.
Yeah.
Tay Davis, he was specifically brought in for special teams, I want to say. So I don't want to ignore the special teams. It's very crucial. But a different scenario here.
The thing with Tay Davis is he, unlike him, between Etheridge and Landman actually got on-field play time during the season when they played. It wasn't like they were just like out there a lot, but they got snaps during the actual season, during actual games, during actual crunch time. Tay Davis is literally you only see that guy on fourth down.
which is
Like
weird
unless
because
like
part of me feels like he's just nothing but
a body,
untapped potential from the Giants.
but something tells me it's just like I don't know because like the two teams he's been on, the Browns and the Giants, it's just like they aren't really known for having really good linebackers. Like, I mean, of course, we're known for having good linebackers. You know, Dion, Devondre Campbell, Tuggle, all those guys. But like, I don't know. Like, could you see him? Like, even if we tapped into that potential, could you see him starting over Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson, or even Michael Walker if they needed him to?
Now, the verdict's still out of Michael Walker.
Michael just needs to tackle. That's all I'm really worried about with him.
he
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 just
ain't
like,
he ain't starting over Caden. He ain't starting over
yeah,
Troy.
he's
They've got way too much responsibility for what they're making. But also like their untapped potential is way higher. So if it gets
Michael
down to
Walker.
like, hey, if one of them is like used for this specific role, it's like if Caden Ellis is just going to be like that consistent delayed blitzer, and then we need someone else for coverage outside of Trey Anderson. Does Davis do that? Does he do it better than Michael Walker?
I don't know because Michael Walker is. I mean, I trash on the guy a lot because he
I
got
don't
me.
hate him in coverage.
Yeah, like
It's
he's
just
decent.
the
It's
I
just his
I
hands are
was
terrible.
I was talking about this with Alex a while back on the Discord. I was like, the chances of him giving up a completion against him and then not being able to make the tackle afterwards, that's higher for me than the possibility of him getting a deflection, causing an incompletion, or straight up
Yeah,
intercepting it. Or, someone completes the pass, but then he immediately tackles him in front of them. So it's like, does he stop the play? And it's like, I look back. How many times has it been like him and Jalen Hawkins both trying to stop the same dude and they just couldn't do it?
didn't they bump into each other trying to stop Laviska Chenault on that Thursday night game? Because he was him and Jalen literally popped each other trying to. Wait, no, that was Trey Anderson. Never mind. But that was just a bad angle on Jalen's part. But we're not gonna get into that. But it's just I don't know because of course he had the 2 interceptions last year. Both of them were, and well, no, the first one we were getting blown, like being senseless by the Rams. The second one was the Commanders game before halftime. So he made some plays, just like the plays were like when Leonard
They're
Fournette
just
caught
very
that
few and
ball.
far between.
Yeah, like when Leonard Fournette caught that little dump pass and he's right in front of it, and dude just like literally like completely misses the tackle, or he's guarding
So
Troutman and
for me, it's
catches it.
like, do I want to play maker or do I want to play stopper?
Because you ain't getting both. That's the well, Michael is either you're gonna make the play or he's gonna stop the play after he let it happen 15 yards down the field. So it's literally pick
I
your poison.
think I'd rather have a play stopper right now. Considering like if I want a playmaker, I'll try to get Troy Anderson to do something.
Shoot, we got
Or
playmakers
we
all
can
over the
get
field.
one of our 16 corners or safeties in the secondary to do something.
Shoot, we got enough
I
playmakers
also
on the
think
field.
that a lot of things, especially in coverage, will help because of how our defensive line might look. We're not giving
Yeah.
quarterbacks like 15 business days to throw back there. And instead, we can maybe give them like 2.5, 3 seconds at max. And they're still having to like decipher, all right, who's kind of open now? Like, do I just make just a desperate throw? Just chuck it. Someone's out there.
That's what happened on his second pick with the Washington game. I mean, Taylor was trying to make a play, but at the same time, like pressure was getting in his face. He just drops back and like he's just in a perfect spot. And then he has times where you're like, dude, like where were you at when he caught this ball? Because this is clearly your zone. And dude, you just like it was like, yeah. If he catches it, he catches it. He done. I guess I'll make the tackle. It's just
All right, we got breaking news from Raymond Collins. Thank you. He said he heard Coach Smith said he was in contact with Eddie Goldman. Yay!
finally.
He's got him on his phone. He's got his phone number. Let's go.
Shoot,
I don't know what this tells me, but I appreciate you telling it to me. This does not sway my opinion. So, like, what he can do on the field.
Dude, Coach Smith got everybody's
So
phone number.
yeah, let's go back over here. I'm gonna get my final answer here. I'm gonna say, oh my goodness, what sucks is that I might have to let Etheridge go. I got to keep Landman. He's the only one that can actually play
during the season.
That's not on fourth down. Davis is a fourth down guy, so I want to prioritize that whenever I can. He's the guy to do it, so I'll just save him. Etheridge can't really do anything at the moment, and while I have to cut him in this game, I do want to see, we want to talk about untapped potential. He's got the most out of all three of these names. Because whenever you look back at those preseason games where he was actually able to do something, he was like all over the field. And that was when our defense wasn't even all that good around him. It was just like, all right, let's just do, let's just run this defense. And it's like, boom, boom. Etheridge there, made a play. Tackle behind the line. Oh, got a sack. Like, dude was flying all over the field. And then just gets hurt. And now I'm in a position where it's like, I almost got no choice but to cut him and then add him back on until he's healthy again.
He gave me Deion Jones vibe, to be honest. Like, prime Deion Jones vibe.
I mean, he's been behind him for a little bit, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's learned a few things.
I don't know, man. It's just like, because Etheridge is a good special team player too, but it's just like, can you really say
my best
Etheridge
ability has got to be availability?
Yeah, and Tay Davis hasn't missed. I mean, injury-wise, he hasn't really missed more than I think 3 games in a season. Etheridge has already missed a whole season, and this is only his third or fourth year in the league.
Yeah, it's almost
I
flipped
don't
for them.
know. It's just, I don't know. The only thing I do know is no copycat, but the only thing I do know is that Landman is getting kept. That's the only thing I do know. He is most definitely getting kept.
So you would go Landman, keep, squad Etheridge, and then cut Davis.
Yeah, basically. Because
I can live with that reality too.
Yeah, Landman is the only person that's consistently been on the field in crunch time. I think he was on the field and with that D offer pick in the Browns game. Yeah, he was on the field playing coverage, as he usually is most of the time. So, yeah.
All right, now I guess the next one is going to be flipping us back to the offense, and this one's like I think we can kind of both agree on this one.
Yeah.
Why is CP even here? Like, this is unfair for Carlos Washington Jr.
See, the only reason I'm not gonna absolutely just clown on these other guys is because CP is CP. CP is a kick returner. CP is a running back. CP is a wide receiver. CP is in the slot. CP is at tight end. CP is at quarter. CP is just everywhere.
Played safety at one point. So
yeah, he did play safety. CP's everywhere. If you need him to play guard, he'll probably get demolished, but he'll play guard for you. I mean, CP.
We don't need another Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, we don't. But CP is CP, so he's getting kept. Huntley, he made my 53-man roster, so he'll be on the practice squad. Washington Jr., I watched 20 seconds of his film after we had signed him, and I got bored because he's like an Algier player, but worse. Like, he's like a Tyler Algier build and a little bit faster, but worse, kind of. I hope I'm talking about.
So it doesn't have that same. Well, I think we only have like 5 or 6 backs on the roster, and we know what the other ones are.
The 2 people that aren't making the team, just know that.
So,
that's
not to mention with D. Coleman, it's like we lost Avery Williams, who was the other running back here. Now, if you throw Avery Williams into this discussion, maybe it's a different story, but I'd still kind of treat him as like the the successor to CP. So it's like he could
I would
also
then in that case Huntley would probably be getting cut. I love Huntley, but he would probably be getting cut in that
so you would
position.
prefer Washington Jr. then.
Oh shit, Washington's getting cut either way. I'm not putting
What?
him. Like it's like no hate towards Washington. It's just like I know what Caleb can do when healthy. We all know what CP can do when healthy. It's just like I understand Washington. You know, you're a undrafted free agent just on to make a way in the NFL, but like, dude, like unless you're gonna come in here and give me 600 rushing yards or 4 yards a clip, I mean, it's not really that hard behind this offensive line and Art running scheme Art has, but still, is unless you're gonna give me 600 rushing yards or 4 yards a clip, I ain't putting you over CP, and I'm sure not putting you over Bijan. I'm sure not putting you over Algier, and I'm not even putting you over an injured Huntley. I'm gonna be honest with you, or over Avery Williams. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Well, D. Coleman might have something to say about this though, because he says I'm heartless with running backs, but Huntley got to go. I'm waiting for the intro. I'm waiting for the explanation on that one.
Maybe because he's hurt and he's not going to be able to play till like October, but I don't know. It's just like Arthur Smith has taken so many running backs and just turned them into something decent throughout the year. So you never know. Like if he put Huntley on injured, well, no, actually Caleb is on injured reserve right now. I forgot he is on injured reserve. So Washington, you may be able to make the practice squad this year or something. You know, you never know. But yeah, I don't know because I understand Huntley's not going to be able to play for a good while, about half of the season. But it's just like I can't do it. Like I don't like you can't really get attached to running backs these days because I mean look at Christian McCaffrey. Everybody thought he was going to retire a Panther, and he gets traded to the 49ers for a bag of chips. But
Which he then goes on to say that was like the best thing that's ever happened to his career.
yeah, that may have been an insult to the Panthers, but I don't really care about the Panthers. The Panthers are the Panthers. I can care less about them, but
Oh well.
like you said, like you can't really be getting attached to these running backs. But like it's just like if you know what they're gonna do, and their legs aren't cooked, like Adrian Peterson still trying to hit 12,000 yards, and he's 38 years old, and he's not gonna get signed to a team unless they're just absolutely
Or
desperate.
if you're like 40-year-old Frank Gore that's still
And
working under Adam Gase, and they have you run a freaking wheel route.
you can't even you got covered by a 6'4", 260-pound defensive end. Like, dude, like if it's at that point to where you can't beat a defensive end that's 6'6", it's time to retire, man. Like you're basically saying Zach Harrison was guarding you, and you couldn't beat Zach Harrison in coverage. Now Zach Harrison is a very versatile, agile beast, beast of a man. But if you're a running
What?
back and
Wait a
and
minute.
you
Wait a minute.
can't beat
What
that,
wasn't Zach Harrison the one that like almost had the body or like almost was like playing corner in high school? I feel like I've read that somewhere.
he was playing linebacker in high school, I think, and then he got so big that he made the transition to defensive end.
So he still has like coverage capabilities
Yeah,
like
like he
hidden
can
deep within
he
him.
can line up and like stand up or three down, like hand in the dirt and like drop back into coverage. But like I wouldn't be like, hey, we're in the goal line situation. If I have Kamara leaks out, go guard him. Like, no, like he's not doing
Well,
that. But
hey,
if you
you say that, but one of the best plays in Super Bowl history was the James Harrison pick six. That was the same exact play concept.
oh yeah.
It was a
James
delayed
Harrison was just a
blitz
beast.
and then drop back and then just like boom, pick them off because he was like following the running back outside.
You never know. I
And
mean,
it's
he's
like
versatile
I
enough.
would trust Zach Harrison's coverage over James Harrison, and yet James Harrison still got the job done. So
James Harrison
imagine
is
what Zach Harrison could have done. Like that whole epic chase probably wouldn't have been able to happen.
because didn't Zach run like a 4.8 or like a 4.7 in his 40? Like
He's still got some speed.
yeah, he got some speed on him. He may be 6'6", 275, but big dude got some speed on him.
All right, now we have another one from Tabro. Justin
Okay, now
Schaefer, Caleb Marjorie, Caleb McGarry, and Matt Hennessy.
Matt Hennessy. So, Noah, my friend, I think we both are agreeing on who's staying out of these three.
Yep, my
The
boy
guy
Justin
that just
Schaefer. I'm just kidding.
Hennessy,
He's the
take a shot.
Georgia guy. We gotta keep him, right?
Man, you know how many Georgia fans were so excited? They said this man was gonna start over Caleb McGarry after the preseason. I'm like, did he even play in the preseason? And if he did, it wasn't really that good because he nearly got Desmond killed a couple times. But yeah, so the guy that just got a 3-year, $38 million contract is of course staying. I like the other two though, because both of these guys can play the same position. Interior wise, Schaefer is big enough and agile enough and powerful enough to drop to guard. So they both. I mean, of course, Hennessy would. I. We'd have to be very thin at offensive line for Matt Hennessy to be out there at left or right tackle. Like we
Well,
just like
even like left guard still, right? Because he's
yeah.
competing with Bergeron there.
We don't know Bergeron starting. I'll give it till
Pretty
like the third
much.
week of training camp. That man is. You're not
I
spending
want
the
to
second
see
half of
Hennessy kind of get his build up because he's still a bit small, especially making that transition from like the smaller
center.
like if you put Jason Kelsey at left guard, like that's not a good formula. And I know how great Jason Kelsey is at blocking. He's just meant for the center because of his size. Like same thing with Hennessy. Like he's meant at the center position for size. He needs to bulk up a little bit more if he wants to play guard. And I don't know if he's got the capability, but he's certainly trying. I'll give him that much. He's
I mean,
he's definitely going out of his way and doing everything he can in order to fight on this team. Which I mean, if there's a year to do so, now is the time to like fight for your spot on this roster because it's going to be ballistic in certain places.
I think this is his last year or the year before last on his contract. Because if I'm right, he was drafted in 2020 with AJ, right? In the third round.
Correct.
Yes, yeah. So
Because the year
this
afterwards,
is
we drafted Dahlman.
yeah, because yeah. So this is his make or break. So I mean, no one likes to be the career backup, but would you rather be the career backup or the guy that's fishing, saying, "Yeah, I played on the Falcons for 2 years before I was cut and never signed again." But
And
yeah,
then everyone made fun of me because I thought I was drunk on the field.
yeah. But yeah,
That being said, though, with Justin Schaefer kind of being thrown in here, what does his position battle look like with like Javon Gwynn? Because I've heard
I
some
think
good things about
Javon
Javon
Gwynn
Gwynn.
is battling at center. I think the reason they put Hennessy at guard is because you don't want 3 centers on the team. So Javon Gwynn's probably going to be that backup center. To be honest, Schaefer battle is literally anywhere but center and right guard. Like he can play right tackle, he can play left guard, he can play left tackle. Now, of course, we know he's not starting over Jake Matthews or Caleb McGarry.
Or
He
Chris
could
Lindstrom.
win, or Chris Lindstrom, or Drew Dahman because he can't snap. The only way he could really start on this offensive line is if he just dominated the left guard position and like outshine Hennessy and Bergeron. But I just don't see it. I think Bergeron is like I wouldn't say he's like this all-star, one-of-a-kind talent. It's just like I get Zach Martin vibes from him. Like
now, here's what I'll do. I'm not gonna adjust it because I want to stay true to what Tabro gave us. But imagine if instead of McGarry, this was Mayfield.
Oh, Mayfield's getting. Now, see, at that point, I would probably say Hennessy is getting kept. Schaefer's on the practice squad. Mayfield's getting cut. Because what Mayfield showed me in that rookie season. Now, of course, this is this is a rookie season. He's getting his feet wet. I've never seen a worse rookie guard in my entire life, ever.
Not
That
only
right
did he
there,
get his feet wet, he got his entire body wet.
he got drenched in the Bahama river or beach. I've never seen someone tweet out a week before the draft, if you don't want your quarterback hit, draft me. Matt Ryan was hit over 80 times that year. 55% of those times coming from the left side. Most of those times coming from inside. And guess who was blocking? Jalen Mayfield.
Where, the other person had to like compensate for whatever he wasn't doing.
Hey, you miss a block,
So,
Hennessy, that's on you. And like I said,
I was
don't
watching
wanna...
a couple games of him, or it was like the pocket looked good. Like all you had to do, Mayfield, was like stay where you were.
set
Okay.
your feet.
Well, he actually meant Mayfield, I guess. All right. So now that instead, because Caleb McGarry, he was too high of a profile in between the other three, in my opinion. So we're gonna change this.
See, the thing I'd like, the only really excuse you can really give the Mayfield is that he wasn't even supposed to touch left guard that year. He wasn't even supposed to touch left guard that year. The dude we had at left guard broke his hand in training camp. He literally got put there the next day, and he was the starter from then or out because we didn't have any other good, valuable, or versatile enough players to go play left guard. So really, he was supposed to be the backup.
And then, like I said,
McGarry.
like we can harp on him for all we want about like what he wasn't doing in the pass protection game. I certainly can. But he had a plus to him, and which was his run blocking. I know that I've heard better things from Schaefer about his pass protection. Run blocking, I'm not.
Game.
I don't really know about him either.
He's not like Chris Lindstrom or like Caleb McGarry, but if he needs to move some people, he will. That's the thing between those two. Like they're like all three of these guys are good at run blocking. It's just all three of these guys, well, other than Schaefer, is what is your pass blocking like? Because in that Charger game where Matt Hennessy started, both of those sacks came because of Matt Hennessy. Mayfield, of course, we know he allowed like 20-something sacks during that season. Schaefer, I don't know. It's just Schaefer. What he showed in the preseason was like, well, yeah, that's practice squad worthy. Like you're not getting put on the 53-man roster with that. That's definitely practice squad worthy. And I'm guessing it was practice squad worthy in practice too, because D'Angelo Malone didn't play much in the preseason, and I mean he didn't get a ton of snaps in the regular season, but he made the 53. He got his chances when he got them, and he made them work. So. I don't know. It's just if I had to be completely honest, I'd probably keep Hennessy because he's proved the most out of everybody. He hasn't proved much, but he's proved the most out of everybody.
We certainly gave him the most starting reps out of the three.
Yeah. He's gotten the most starting reps. If I had to go off of just potential and who could be either a starter down the line or at least a valuable backup, I probably have to go with Schaefer. And like I'm saying, like this is no hate towards Mayfield. I think Mayfield could be as easily as a serviceable backup left guard or right tackle in the league. It's just like
I would just give him the responsibilities of the tackles right there, which I mean, it's now tough because he goes from a situation where we needed just anybody on the offensive line to now. All right, now it's pretty much set, right? Like, of course, Jake Matthews. We don't know how long we're gonna have him because of his like his restructures and stuff. Well, I wouldn't say age because the Matthews family can stick around forever, but the contract, like everything that we've had to move around that, it's kind of like about to creep us. It's gonna creep up on us, and I would rather be prepared for that now.
Did we give him an extension last year?
I think it was like the 15th restructure.
I think we extended him because I remember we extended Grady and we extended him like the next week because everybody was waiting on it. Because that
it's possible, but I don't think the extension was that long. Like I think it was
it's the same year as Grady's. Like it expires in 2025. So this is like his last 3 years on on his deal because I remember he had like a year left on his thing, and then they gave him like a 2-year, $30 million extension, and that freed up like $9 million for this year. Because I know they restructured his contract in 2021. It was literally like no way you couldn't restructure him and Matt's contract. It was like you either restructure or you let him go, and there was no letting a top 10 left tackle go. So it was just what, let's go ahead and restructure. So
And then that's what ultimately led us to the Deion Jones trade too.
yeah. I think Deion Jones was as good as gone as soon as DNP's got there. He just didn't fit DNP's system.
It felt so long ago that happened.
It's crazy
I don't know
because
why.
we just traded like when you really think about this, like we just traded him and Calvin, what, 8 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. And
Well,
it feels
Calvin was
like
a bit longer than that. It's
we
got to be
traded.
over a year for him.
No, we traded him right before the
He was
deadline.
out in Jacksonville all of last year.
No, I remember because he had the betting issue, and the
That was in
summer.
like March.
Yeah, and then the draft went by. Everything went by. We ended up drafting Drake London. Drake's playing, and we were talking like, well, how long are we going to be waiting on Calvin? And then all of a sudden, it's like week 7 or like entering week 8, and we traded Calvin to the Jaguars because I was like, wow, that's surprising. And then the week after the Jaguars game in the preseason, we traded Dion, and then it took us like 7 weeks to get that Calvin Ridley trade the week before the deadline passed. So yeah, he's been on there for like they've been expecting him since the deadline passed. That's why so many people have been talking about him since then. They've just been waiting. Actually, honest question, and because I know we're like an hour into this, so I don't want to get too off topic. But if the Jaguars had Calvin Ridley in that Chiefs game, do you think they win a game? Like 2020, 1,300-yard Calvin Ridley with Christian Kirk.
Here's the thing. So Calvin Ridley is kind of allergic to scoring in Kansas City.
Yeah.
As that one play has let us know. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's just
it's
like
possible, but then he could also just like moonwalk back to the 1 yard line and just like not do anything.
I don't know, because it's just like, of course, you had the Christian Kirk BS catch that they said was incomplete last year, and he clearly caught it. Zay Jones, I mean, he did the best he could. We all know Zay Jones is he's a great number 3 wide receiver. He's not a number 2. I think he proved that on the Lions, but he is not a number 2. He's like a premium. Oh, he's on the number 3 corner. Yeah, let's go ahead and put that 1-on-1 on him. I think if you would have put Christian Kirk on the Chiefs' number 2 corner, and you let Calvin Ridley go on there, and then you have Evan Ingram, and then Travis Etienne was going stupid that game. I mean, let's think about it. They literally brought the Chiefs to the brink of losing. Like it was, I think, what was it, a 6-point game?
Yeah, something happened to Trevor Lawrence though, right?
Yeah, I think his ankle got messed up that game.
Yeah, so there was like a couple throws, especially late in the game, where it's like he just couldn't get the ball there, which led to that late pick at the end.
Yeah, because I remember him and Pat was getting banged around that game, but Pat got lucky that his happened in the beginning, so him being able to
the rest of the time to use the painkillers and whatever they just shoved up his body.
And then Lawrence's happened in like towards the end of the third quarter, and he
felt like fourth quarter or something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, he had to deal. I just know he had to deal with it for the end of the game, and you could tell it was nagging him because he could not step into a throw to save his life.
So yeah, we finally got that explanation with D. Coleman. He said if Bijan or Tyler goes down, we got CP with an injury history and it hobbled Caleb backing them up. I want fresh legs at RB4, so hence Carlos.
I can respect that. I can get behind that. Yeah, I can get behind that.
And then speaking of which, he's got these Micah
I just
Abernathy, Darren Hall, Cornell Armstrong. Oh, this is another
man,
tough one because I think that Micah is more of the safety. He's more of that kind of like deep range safety, whereas Hall and Armstrong are not. They're more like outside corners.
shoot, Hall can get in the slot if he just would have stayed there. He was doing good in the slot until DMPs moved him out there, but the depth was so bad that we literally had to move him to the outside. It was like it's either you have Mike Ford at outside or Darren Hall. And Mike Ford hasn't even played a full game at corner since like 2019. So
Yeah,
pick
it
your
was not the best setup. So, but now we're in another position where it's like, okay, well, we get Micah from the Packers, we get Armstrong, like basically off the street, and then like over time, while people like some people didn't want to recognize it, over time he did get better. Um, I think like his best game was that Tampa game.
Oh, it was. It definitely was. He got beat like badly 2 times in that game. Other than that, he was pretty decent. I mean, of course, I still hated him for the Chargers game because I'm like, dude, how are you playing the inside and still get beat in the inside? Like, I like he really was on a short leash with me after that. The Panthers game really killed me, and the first 2 Panthers games really killed me, but that Chargers game set me over the edge with him, and then it kind of like just built up
It's
slowly.
softened, but
Yeah, it's just
I don't know
you
if
don't know
I
what's
don't
going
know
on.
if we got a net positive out of that.
I guess you can give him if you wanted to give him overall grade. I guess I'll give him a D. Him and Darren Hall were awful
Like he
last
was
year.
clawing his way out of an F grade.
I mean, but you can't like. I was hard on him, but now that I think about it, his first real game was against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And
Tyler
Jamar
Boyd and
Chase is
whatnot.
arguably a top 3 wide receiver. T. Higgins is probably the second or first best. He's the best wide receiver 2 in the league, and he'd be a wide receiver 1 on any other team. I'd say about 25. No, like 20 to 22 other teams, he'd be a number 1 wide receiver on. So it's just like
Very
that
likely.
was.
And then like Tyler Boyd or whatever would be like the next best like wide receiver too. So
It's just like, well,
it's crazy
AJ
over like what they got.
AJ's hurt. Casey's out for the season. Hey Armstrong, we got an assignment for you. Here you go. Hey, guard the best wide receiver in the league. Mm-hmm. Well, the second best wide receiver in the
Oh
league.
no, what's that? They got momentum? Oh no.
Did he just head top Cornell Armstrong and Jalen Hawkins in the same pass and toe tap in front of the fans? Dang it! Yeah, that was a hard game to
Oh
watch.
well.
'Cause I
Oh
was
well.
so
Here's
hyped for
your
that
next
game.
opponent, which is DJ Moore. So
I was so hyped
like,
for that game.
eventually it did get better for him, but like he was like another Mayfield, you know? It's like he gets thrown out there in like the worst possible situation you can come up with, and then like everyone hates him on it for it. But it's like at some point he's got to show something, and that's why he's still on the team, right? We gave
What a me
Cornell Armstrong
extension,
like an extension.
1 year deal.
We just
Like
picked up Abernathy. We still have Darren Hall. Um,
Darren Hall's on his
I
rookie contract deal. This is like his last year of his rookie contract because he got drafted
21.
and 21. So he's like the year before his last contract, and he can't get a 5th-year option because he's a 4th-round pick. So, so like you said, Arms.
I, but I really want to see what Abernathy does. But does he get on the field? Like I said, we're on a 4 safety rotation. It's between like Richie Grant, Jesse Bates, Jalen Hawkins, Jamarco Helms, and now him as like the 5th person. But he still has like really good capabilities. Like there's still something that he's got that the other like some of the other ones don't possess.
True.
What does Hall give me that none of the other corners give me?
Oh, live streaming. To be honest, in the house. Nothing. I mean, I guess you could say ball skills. I mean, he was kind of a ball hawk at San Diego, so I guess you could say that. But other
but I
than,
don't like to cut him
but then
before his first
again, but like
contract's over.
Aberneath is kind of like a ball hawk because he can play safety too and he can roam around.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, if you had to just say like who could handle their own, because all these guys are versatile.
I
Armstrong can play
okay.
slot.
I think my final verdict is we have no choice but to keep Armstrong with the contract that we
Yeah,
gave him.
yeah.
And in this scenario, obviously, like we're not like making these decisions here, but I would rather squad Abernathy and then cut Darren Hall.
I think Darren Hall
I'm
has been
thinking about
able
like
to
what D
show.
Coleman's saying here, and like, hey, I'll take his contract to the shooting range and then see what we can get out of him. But I'll also take my chances with Abernathy and Armstrong to do that too. So
Because I think the reason I would cut Darren Hall is because he had the most opportunity to showcase off what he could do, and he never really showed any major improvements to what he could do. I mean, of course, he made a couple plays here and there, but most of the time last year, he was the one getting cooked when AJ was out. And then when AJ got back, Armstrong was the one that was playing the other side of the corner, and he was subbing in for when Armstrong got tired. So I don't know. I think they see more in Armstrong than they see in Darren Hall. Of course, they bought Abernathy and for a reason to kind of. I mean, he could be safety depth. He could be corner depth. I think he's versatile enough to do that. So I agree with you on that one. That I probably have to cut Darren Hall and squad Abernathy.
okay, so now we can head back over to the offensive side of the ball and again with these wide receivers because this is a decent fight too here with Chris Blair, Slade Bolden, Josh Ali.
I'm not gonna be biased. I'm not gonna be biased. It's hard. It's hard because I wanted to draft Slade back in 2020. Of course we didn't. He got drafted to the Ravens. But I'm like I said, I'm not gonna be biased. So, all these guys have their strengths. They have their weaknesses. Slade is he's like a Julian Edelman clone. Like literally, like he's slow, he's big, he's got good hands, and he plays in the slot. Julian Edelman clone.
He's
Josh
also like
Ali.
5'11", 189
Yeah, he's
too.
also he's like 5'11", 185, 190. Josh Ali, I think was he on the team last year during training camp?
I don't think he
I
was.
I swear it was somebody that wore number 80 last year during the preseason, and they barely caught anything.
Well, that's why it's so hard for us to remember because they didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
But
I
then
don't
Chris
remember
Blair is the
Slade
interesting
either.
story here.
Didn't he come from the XFL?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was who I was watching his highlights of. That dude's a burner. He is he's a burner.
You out here talking to the girl, man.
He's a straight burner. I was because like the thing is, I'm no disrespect to Julio. Julio's all great. He's got like a Julio build, and not as near as speed, but he's got the speed, and he has that breakaway speed to just like catch a 10-yard pass and take it to the apartments. You know.
well, Chris Blair's 6'2", 198, approaching 200 pounds. Whereas Julio was like 6'3", 220.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe because his frame is like, other than the arms, like he just has a Julio frame. And didn't he wear 11 or was he wearing 1?
They, the Falcons website don't show him having a number at all at the moment.
Oh.
Meanwhile, JJ Arcega-Whiteside is also like 6'2", 230.
JJ Arcega-Whiteside I forgot about him. We have so many no-name wide receivers that are like former first-round picks. Like, it amazes me. Kind of reminds me of that year we signed.
JJ was a second rounder.
He was?
Yeah.
I swear he was a first rounder because the Eagles drafted
him.
him
No, that was like Jalen Reagor or someone else.
yeah. They drafted him over Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. Man, I'm so glad we chose AJ that draft because that was wow.
No, CeeDee Lamb was after AJ.
Still drafting him over Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf and Debo Samuel. So,
Oops.
that's sad. But yeah, so if I had to
All right.
choose, I'd probably say I keep I would keep Blair because of the speed, and this offense needs some speed. I say you keep Blair because of the speed. Slade he gives you more, and he can play special teams too. Josh Ali is more of like just a straight wide receiver. He doesn't really play much special teams. And Slade can go on the outside and inside and play special teams. So I'd probably say put him on the practice squad. The only reason I'm cutting Josh Ali is because he's not as versatile as the other two.
All
Nor
right.
does he
Here's my
have
other question. So you're keeping Blair in this situation, but that's out of these three.
Yeah.
Let's say that we have 6 wide receivers, or maybe 5 wide receivers. Does he make that final slot?
Who did I have on my 53? It was Drake, Max, Scotty, Frank Darby.
3, 4. Is he that
You,
5th?
you still got Blair, Bowden,
Kadira
Ali,
Hodge.
Penny Hart, Kadero Hodge. He's not making that 5. He's not making that. If we had 6, I'd definitely put him at 6, but he's not making
Like
that
even
5.
Xavier Malone could be returner.
Because the thing about the reason I'm keeping Kadero Hodge is because he was one of the best special teamers we had last year. Like, he was always around the football, making plays on special teams. And then, of course, when he needed to make a play on offense, the 1 or 2 times he got in out the year, he made a play. So I'd probably say, don't I really need to keep Mr. Smiley? He need to go get somebody car insurance at this point, because all this man do is smile. Like, I love you, Frank, but dang, like, I've been hyping you up since you got drafted. No one knows this, man. You know this. I've been hyping this man up.
I've done it the same as well.
I've been hyped. I was like, man, like, this man's just gonna be like, he ain't gonna be no starting wide receiver, but wide receiver 3 or 4, getting in a couple plays, be a big deep threat, or red zone option. Yeah, he'll definitely be that. Dude has 1 catch in his 2 catches. One of them came from Desmond Ridder in week 16. Week 17, my bad. Week 17. Man. Never
The
mind.
other one was a 14-yard pass in San Francisco. I got to see that one in person. How special do I feel?
Yeah, never mind. Frank's not getting kept. So Kadero Hodge, wide receiver 4. This wide receiver room is so it's scaring me. But I believe in Art, and I know I believe in Terry Art. I know what they're doing.
Here's the thing, right? We are just isolating that. But if we go pass catchers in general, it's way more than this.
Oh, pass catchers in general, Chris Blair probably isn't even touching the field.
He's like top 15.
Because you have to think about it. You're using Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith as wide receivers too. And you're also putting both of them. They've both been lined up in running back.
You can put Bijan as a wide receiver too as well.
You can put Bijan in. You can put Algeria.
You can put Cordell Patterson as a wide receiver too as well.
Matt Collins, Scotty Miller, Drake London. Shoot. Parker Hesse was lining up as slot wide receiver last year. Hey, put Parker Hesse out there.
And fullback too.
Shoot. Felipe. He's not going to make the team, but shoot. Keep on the practice squad. Let him go out there and make a catch or 2. It's just like people are
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yeah. I forgot about Fitz. He's more of a blocker though. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't like disrespect Chris Bear like that, because Fitzpatrick had like 6 catches in his entire career at Georgia. It may have been a little bit more, but
have you seen George Kittle's production in Iowa?
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Yeah, shoot. Put Fitzpatrick out there. He might be the next George Kittle.
I mean, he's 6'7", right? Like,
yeah, he's 6'7", 250. Handles man like they're babies.
So I'd also kind of have to agree here. I want to keep Blair. I think I'm the most excited about seeing him. I like the concept of Slade Bolden, but Man, like if put it this way, if we were to replace like Josh Ali with let's say, I don't know, Jared Bernhardt,
If he didn't retire.
like then what do we
Now,
think
see,
here?
if Jared Bernhardt was here, he'd be kept. Blair would be put on practice squad. Bolden would be cut. And the reason I'm saying that because Bernhardt went absolutely just crazy during the preseason last year. Him and he like I want to say he had like the 9 to 5 connection that Drake and Desmond have, but that he was like during the preseason like
He was the
Desmond was
first one
on
to develop chemistry.
like the
It was like him
Miracle,
and then like Michael Pruitt, surprisingly.
the Detroit Miracle. The 6 catches he had in the half, or like 4 or 5 catches he had in the half again in the Jets game. He didn't have that many catches in the Jaguars game, but we were running the ball a lot more that game. I think that was the game Algier and Huntley had went off. So yeah, but he was making the most plays out of all the wide receivers that we had with Desmond. So if it had to be between him and those 3, if he didn't retire, he probably would have been gotten kept. Because let's be honest, Falcons Twitter was hyping this man up as our next wide receiver too. Now that sounds sad. That sounds sad, but
Yeah, it do sound sad.
but you know it's Jared Bernhardt, man. Like, where can you go wrong with a guy named Jared? And he wears number 83, and he played that game with a little stick in a small pocket and a golf ball looking thing. But yeah.
And yeah, we are. Well, one of them was already kind of taken care of with the SC Franks and Fitzpatrick in the chat. So Alex was thinking keep Fitz, practice squad Felipe, and then in this situation he would have to cut Parker Hess. But then he also said Parker Hess probably gets practice squad. Felipe gets cut. I still don't know what Arthur Smith wants to do with Felipe Franks.
Felipe Franks got his chance last year. I mean, of course, we tried him at the QB power thing in the preseason, and he kind of showed some flashes. Then we tried it in the preseason, and he didn't do anything. He tried him at tight end, he didn't do anything. Tried him blocking tight end, he didn't do a single thing. It's like he's like Eddie Goldman, like, dude, like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you just here to take up space? Like, for real? Like, I understand he's Kyle Pitts' boy, but like, man, like, you can't make everyone happy, Art. And you can't turn everybody into a Jonnu Smith clone, okay? You can't
like
just
how much information, how much knowledge does he possess in order to keep him on here for this long?
Like he must like be a practice demon, like just looking like Kyle Pitts out there during practice. Because there's no way he, like, I mean, we you see what happened to the Marlowe dude after the Panthers game, and what happened with the DJ Moore thing. He got cut the next day. Well, no, he got traded the next day. So I'm like, like, I'm trying to wonder, like, what's taking Felipe so long? Like, I wanted Drake London to get his 15 back, but I guess we can't do that now because he keeps taking up space.
Man, yeah. Deacon was thinking about Jared from Subway. Some sick Jareds out there. I will raise you with one Jared Leto. Felipe knows where blanket the bodies. Well, if that's how you're gonna strong arm yourself, you better do it right, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. This is like been very fun and creative. Like, I've been like the options y'all have been giving me has been making me think like a lot more about this team and like how this roster is like. It's so unpredictable on like who can make the roster. And like there
was no way we could have predicted like who was thrown up against who.
Yeah, because like let's look at 3 positions right now that you can really say you don't know who's going to be after the third option. cornerback, wide receiver, tight end,
Maybe linebacker.
and maybe linebacker. Those 4 positions, you don't really know who's going to be the depth pieces because you have so much. They signed so much depth there during the season and during the draft. You're like, shoot, like keep every corner on the team, but that's like 16 corners. You can't keep every corner on the team, you know?
And like 15 pass rushers, and like
15,
7
shoot.
safeties,
You know how
like
many
12
outside
offensive
linebackers we
linemen.
have? And Caden Ellis is counted as an outside linebacker. So add him into the mix with AK and Lorenzo Carter and Bud Dupree and Ade Ogundeji and all the guys we signed in the practice squad and all the future contracts we gave. Like, dude, like this stuff is insane, man. I just can't wait till training camp. Get there soon. What we got? 4 weeks. 4 weeks and 3 days because we start on July 27th.
Getting close.
Yeah. Dang, they always start like right before the school year starts. So now, like, I got to pay attention to that football season, my football season, and then their football season. But, I'll be fine. Preseason's coming up. Of course, we got the season in 2 months? 2.5 months. So, yeah. I think we could say this was a good, successful night, though. But,
Alex is talking about a Hicks. I don't.
Hicks. We got a Hicks on the team. I know who Helms is in Aberdeen. I don't know who. If you talk about Akeem
We
Hicks,
already.
we got a Hicks.
No, he is not a safety. Because I'm looking at like all the corners, and we didn't even touch on guys like Breon Borders, which I don't know what was going on with him. Clifford Chapman. I really like his, the possibility of what we can do with him. 6'5", 200 pounds.
Jesus.
Like at corner.
He's like a Tariq Woolen.
I want to do something with him so bad.
He's got a Tariq Woolen. Like he's bigger than Tariq because Tariq is like 6'4".
Yeah,
no.
I don't know about I don't know about the reach, but
yeah. Oh no, the reach or the speed. No, that's no. If that was the case, he would have gone in the draft. Let's be honest, but yeah, I don't know about any Hicks on the team. We're talking about Akeem Hicks. He's on the Bucks, but I don't think we're talking about Hicks with corners or safeties.
You're saying we already cut him? I don't even know who he was.
I seriously don't know who Hicks is.
Well, while we do that, was there one that you, Trey? Was there one that you had in mind that we didn't cover?
Not really. I think they touched on everything that I was mostly thinking of. They actually touched on like 2 or 3 more that I really wasn't really thinking of, like the TQ, Eddie Goldman, and Horn thing. Like I was not thinking about that at all if that were to happen. But they touched on everything that I was thinking about or would have put up there. Because a lot of the guys that they put up made the practice squad in my 53-man prediction, and some of them made the roster, like Jalen and Helms and
Or they were like just on the chopping block?
Yeah, like just on the chopping block. Like, well, he gives us the most potential as a good depth piece, so I'm gonna keep him. So
you know what's kind of funny? I am scrolling through the player roster on the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in order based on position. Now, Xavier Malone, I don't think he's got a picture yet. But there is one blurry face, and I'm not talking about freaking 21 Pilots. There's one blurry face out of everyone. I don't know if it's like an incomplete picture, but it doesn't look the same. Javon Hicks. Oh, like was he
Oh, okay, I remember.
He was Chapman's like partner.
Yeah, we signed him to a future day contract. Huh. Well, yeah, he's still getting cut either way.
So
I like having more.
But yeah, do you want to guess on who is the blurry face? We brought him up today.
We did.
Yeah,
Trey Flowers.
incorrect.
Schaefer.
Incorrect.
Mayfield.
Incorrect.
Helms.
Incorrect.
Mike Hughes.
Okay, last guess.
Okay, is it a person that we know could have a good chance of making a roster and who's probably getting cut?
Absolutely.
So they could get cut, is what you're saying. Let me try to remember all the people we've talked about getting cut in the last hour and 20 minutes.
I don't want to give too much away.
This headache is killing me so bad that I can't even remember. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna name the exact person. I'm just gonna say he's in the secondary. I'm gonna say that. Am I right though?
Is Michael Walker?
Huh?
Like, I don't know why, but his picture's like super blurry.
Well, now that I get that, Michael Walker hasn't really gotten a lot of play.
Maybe it's just like my loading screen isn't right, but everyone else is loaded perfectly.
No, it's just he doesn't have a picture on the thing. That's sad though, because he well, no, not really, because he was a 4th round pick and he didn't really get any play time till.
He's a 4th round pick in 2019. Like, he's been here for years. Like,
oh, this is his last year. 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, this is his last year. So better make it count, buddy.
oh, now did I have something that I wanted to come up with? I think I did. And this was the whole reason as to why I was looking at that. Let's go back to it because I wanted to reload it. That way it wasn't being unfair. I want to go back into the pass rusher side of things. And as soon as I can sort by position group, this could be a lot easier. What is going on here? You know what? I'll just scroll down and find it myself. Okay. So this is kind of like our final thing, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to put 3 starters up against each other.
Oh. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna like this one. Shouldn't really take me long, but I'm gonna like this one.
Or potential starters on here.
Okay.
It's up in the air, but you'll understand why.
Okay.
So the first name.
Yes, and say D'Angelo Malone is in this.
You are now correct. The next answer, or the next player, is Bud Dupree.
Okay.
The final person
is Andre Bicchetti.
Lorenzo Carter.
Oh, okay. So, okay. So, looking at the depth chart, they have Lorenzo and Bud Dupree starting, and Malone and AK backing up. So I think Malone has the most potential out of all of them, just because of his size and quickness and burst and just his toughness. Of course, Lorenzo Carter never really got the great coaching at New York because he was dealing with the old terrible coaching staff those 2 years, so he never really got like the good part of it. Bud Dupree is like 31, so I'm gonna say he's gonna get cut just because of the age thing, and that the only reason he signed here with us is because we're literally giving him a 1-year contract, which is probably telling me he's retiring after this year. So I would get the most Bud Dupree fun you can get out of this year, Falcons fans. So he's going to get cut. The tough thing to me about the Lorenzo and Malone thing is both of these guys are in their 20s. And if I'm not mistaken, D'Angelo Malone's like 23, 24.
Carter's like Lorenzo, 27?
He's like 26. I think he's 26. Okay. So that's like what, a 2-year age gap, and then
Maybe 3 max.
yeah, 3 max. Because I mean, you could see the potential that Lorenzo had last year. You know, the plays he made, but if I had to go off just straight potential, I'll say Malone.
In other news, the Rockies are getting rocked.
I have no idea about baseball, so.
Well, 23-0 is not a good baseball score.
I thought that was like I didn't. I thought the 23. I don't even know what I thought the 23 was. I was just like, 23. And I'm looking like, I don't know nothing about baseball. Then I'm like, wait, baseball 23, huh? I don't remember seeing the team get blown out like 31-2 in a baseball game. It was sad. I don't think I've ever seen something like that.
Worst part about it, it's top of the 4th. There's like another half of the game left to go.
Yeah. I don't know much about baseball, but I know you got like 9 innings. So I hope this isn't a home game for the team that's getting blown out. Because if it is, that's unless a 28-3 is about to happen. Sorry,
Colorado Rockies are not a little league team.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason you don't hear about a bunch about Colorado teams. I mean,
well, unless they got Deion Sanders, but
prayers up to him. Heard his surgery went good today.
Yeah.
Man, injuries really do be hitting these retired NFL players, but it's another conversation for another time, man. But
right. What was your final verdict on this one, though? Before we get out of here,
it's hard.
You said you kept Malone for potential, right?
Yeah, because it's just like it's a 2-year, 3 age gap, but 2 to 3 years in the NFL is a big age gap. Like, let's be honest, it's
a whole other contract in between.
Yeah, that's like I was about to say, like, that's a whole other contract, man. So, and if I'm not mistaken, Lorenzo's on his 3rd contract. If I'm not mistaken, or is this his 2nd?
It's probably a 2nd. I don't think
because he got no, because he got cut. He got cut, so this is his 3rd contract. Yeah.
So yeah. If you want to like go by the technicalities of the books and whatever, like okay.
So, yeah, this really is 3rd contract.
I don't have too bad of a problem with saying goodbye to Bud Dupree, although I do want to see him. But it's like I understand. It's like, man, if I want another pass rusher for like 4 or 5 years, I'd want to see what I can get out of Malone. But if I want like a revitalized version of what would have been like a really good player, I can also get Bud Dupree. Where do you think Carter's ceiling is in between these two?
2019 Bud Dupree. That's his ceiling. Like 11.5 sacks. Like the second option that's getting like 11.5, 10.5 sacks. Because I think Arnold.
Now the other thing is, can we get the same 2019 Bud Dupree with this defensive line?
It's very possible because he's not like, let's say on a 3rd down you have Onyemata, Grady, Calais, Arnold Ebiketie, or Lorenzo Carter, and Bud Dupree in a 5-man front. He's probably getting the worst tackle, or at least the worst situation. Well, best for him, but worst situation as far as O-line wise out of all 5 of those guys. And he's gonna be 1-on-1. Like, he's not getting double. It's possible. It's possible because he's never gonna get doubled this year. Like, it's just too much talent in the inside, too much speed and weight, and like.
How about this way? Instead of asking that kind of question, let me ask this question. It is 3rd and 4, late in the game. You need a sack to stop him. You have one person that you're like preparing, like in between your other good pass rushers. Who do you want in between, like Grady and like Calais? Do you want Carter there? Do you want Dupree? Do you want Malone to get the job done on the stunt?
Oh, and Dupree. It's just like before injuries, Dupree was like dang near a top 10 defensive end. Like he was like dogging dudes before he had that injuries at Tennessee. And if he can get that again, I mean, like he
Or if
showed,
we could train Malone to be that,
yeah, because
having
him
them
and him,
both together in the building isn't a bad idea.
him and Malone have the same build, dang near. I think Malone's just like a couple pounds bigger, but him and Malone have the same like speed, length, like they're the same build. The only thing about Lorenzo's like more of a shorter, heavy set. Lorenzo's like 6 foot, 6'1".
No, Lonzo's 6'5", 250.
He's 6'5".
Yeah. Bud Dupree's 6'4", 270.
D'Angelo's like what? 6,
Malone is
6'4", 6'3".
Malone is kind of tough to find here. 6'4", 240. He's the
Yeah.
smallest one out of everyone. But I mean that makes sense because he was known for his speed rushing.
Yeah.
Which makes it all the more the reason as to why you want him on a stunt here. Now, out of these three versus like Ebiketie, I want Ebiketie.
Oh, of course. Ebiketie
But
has the most potential
out
on
of the
this
second
defense.
guy, right? If I want to, kind of be symmetrical in the defense, if you will,
It'd be Dupree.
and then have someone else on the other side to do the job. I trust the speed of Malone to get there, but I also trust Dupree's experience to get to the quarterback and then like finish the play. But then I also trust Lorenzo Carter's ability to just give us a defensive touchdown. Like,
Shoot, jump in there and go get another pick six, man. Because he had 3 touchdowns last year. Well, no, was it 2? He had the pick six.
bro, he had as many touchdowns as Kyle Pitts.
So 2, yeah. Pick six.
It was 3, right?
Carolina. I think he got another fumble against the Saints that he didn't get to return. But he had the pick six against Carolina, and then he had the fumble return on the punt return fumble against the Rams. Week 2. And then of course he had the fumble recovery against the Saints in week 15? Yeah, week 15.
I thought he had a third.
Nah. I wish he did. It would have been great, but no, he didn't.
Why am I thinking he had a third one then? What did he do? He might have just gotten close, but I just kind of
he got
mentally
I
checked
know what
it.
you're talking about. He got close.
Okay, let me. Come on now, show me. Yeah, he doesn't. According to the Falcon stat sheet, they don't show him as having. They show him as having a fumble recovery, but not a fumble recovery touchdown.
Yeah.
And then they show him having a pick six. But wait, how does he not have a fumble recovery touchdown? If that's what he did against the Rams.
He's supposed to, but I guess they didn't add it. But I know what you're talking about. The fumble recovery he got against the Saints when Grady Jarrett.
Unless that's like counted as differently from a
a
fumble
touchdown. Yeah, it's more of like a return. Oh, it's like a return touchdown basically.
It could be
because when you think about it, he's blocking it, but he's still returning it. It's not like if he was on like if he got a strip sack and then picked it up and then took it back to the outside. That would be a fumble recovery touchdown.
True.
I think since he's on punt return, I guess it counts as a punt return touchdown.
And then there's Ogundeji here.
Ogundeji, man. Ogundeji isn't really doing anything. I'm going to be honest. I'll be surprised if he makes the roster this year. If he makes it, it's mostly he's playing mostly special teams. Or Ryan Nielsen just sees something that he can just tap into. But you never know. I mean, we've seen players that take a couple of years to get started and then they find that right coach or that right system or scheme and they just blossom. I mean, well, look at CP. Nobody wanted to use him as that running back wide receiver he was drafted as. Get to Arthur Smith. Dude has 12 touchdowns in a single season.
It can happen to anyone if they really work hard at it.
True.
Ooh, well, I think we've kind of exhausted all our options here. I don't see any other suggestions in the chat, and if there are, I am going to ignore them. We just got the hour 45-minute mark, and I think it's time for us to kind of give our final thoughts. When could we do another one of these? I'm not talking about this game. I'm just talking about another stream in general.
Shoot, I'm good every weekend.
I wish I could say the same. The only reason as to why I'm available now is because the group in which I'm supposed to be taking care of some stuff, they are at a wedding. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the family that's about to become one. I'm excited for all that. It's just the problem is that I had a Zoom invitation, and it was at 3:00.
Oh.
But I work until 4, which means that I was trying to have an hour or whatever dedicated so I can kind of sit in the back and be a part of the it's be able to witness everything. And for whatever reason, 3:00 just became the time period in which everyone and their left mother's toenail just decided to come in the store at the same time. And I was now it was the busiest thing. Everyone had all sorts of questions. And I'm like, really? Now you have to show up? Now you have to do everything? Now? So, yeah, I completely missed out on that. But there was 2 people that are there. Well, more than 2 people. But, there's multiple people that are there that can give me their first accounts. And it's going to be really fun to hear that. So, I am excited to see their stories. I'm probably going to be there tomorrow. This is a crazy final question from Dartmouth. Do we think it's likely to land D-Hop? Absolutely not, in my opinion.
Not at all. Pipe dream. Everybody in the Discord was talking about it, but no, it's not happening. I think Terry has made all his major moves that he's needed to make, and he's going to ride with this roster, and he's going to see what happens. And, of course, a lot of things are going to change throughout the season, as they usually do the last 2 years, of course, with the death and special teams and guys getting hurt, of course. I mean, you don't want it to happen, but it happens. It's football. Guys get hurt. Guys get injured. Nothing you can really do about it. But
And then plus, there's the talent part of it, sure. Yeah, he's got some pluses to him, but he's also got some negatives to him as well, right? We just talked about Grady Jarrett's situation, Jake Matthews' contract situation. That's all going to be colliding in the same year. Now we're trying to get another wide receiver that might be conflicting us to trying to be the number 1 wide receiver in a passing attack that's already flooded with people that can be really good pass catchers for us. Plus, he's he's over 30. I don't know when was the last time he had a full season, whether it was because of injuries or because he just couldn't stay on the field because of suspensions.
It was 2020.
Yeah, and then we know what happened with him there.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's possible for us to land D-Hop right now. I think we want to see a lot of our young guys get the potential, get the exposure that they really need, especially with Drake London. So I want to see them really blossom and become maybe the next guy. They're having that conversation with the D-Hops and the Mike Evans and whatnot. Because what was Scotty Miller saying? It's oh hey, I'm pretty sure that Drake London is the next Mike Evans, which is exactly what his draft comparison was, and yet everyone just kind of forgot about him because he landed with us.
Well, they'll find out soon, very soon.
So, yeah, Matt Collins is another guy too, where it's I like Mac, his ability to block. Can D-Hop block? I don't think he wants to.
Not very much.
So, yeah, I don't think he's going to be as team committed as everyone else has been so far, which is a big factor in cohesion, especially when you're like trying to build a culture. So, it is what it is. Oh, all right. Well, last thing for me to talk about. If there's other news to be had, I guess I will, try to
Reported.
peek my head in through there. If not, man,
Ain't really much going on until
here's the thing right now, and I don't really want to say it right here, but I kind of want to get this off my chest. Since it's like we're about to end the stream anyway, so what does it matter that another couple, like 20 people, possibly even more later on, listen to this? I've been at my job for less than a year. And this is like the fastest out of the 3 jobs that I've had so far where I've like actually like thought about like leaving. The reason being, it isn't because of like anything that they're like the people that I'm working alongside are doing wrong, because those people are great. It's the people above me, or the people above them specifically, where it's like, oh, well, we can try to give you a full-time position, but that means that you have to replace the people that you're trying to like spend time with, or that you're coworkers with. But it's like, I'm not equipped to do that because they all have 20 years of experience. So I can't do that. I'd have to reapply myself to get that job, to work in the same store in order to get that promotion, which isn't even guaranteed to me. Or I can go to another location and then try to snag their spot, but I ain't got the transportation for that right now. I've been using like a scooter, an electric scooter, for like the past couple of weeks that isn't even mine.
Oh.
It's not stolen. It's borrowed from my cousins. So yeah, I've been having to use that, and that's been kind of like messing up my hips and my legs, because standing on that for like 20-25 minutes is not the most comfortable position, especially when your legs are the suspension. So yeah, I can't really go anywhere else. I don't really have the money in order to expand to something beyond that, which means that if there is a scenario where I don't come up with a job within that time frame of like me leaving and then me heading to another position, which happened in the past, which happened around this time last year, I might like just stick around at home and like make more videos until I get like something else happen. I don't want that to be the case, but I got to do something. And, during that time, that was like the only way I can, make use of my time. And that was like making videos for everyone else to see, because I want to make sure that I can still be relevant here if I ever do something, or if we ever do something together, Yeah. I want to make sure that, that we can all grow into something bigger than just like this. But it's really difficult to kind of like make that leap, especially when I've done it before and now I'm in the spot where I want to get out of it now. Because I've heard about the videos and it's like, oh, well, I left my job for this reason, but then I went to this one and it somehow got even worse.
Yeah.
So just be careful, Trey, when you ever end up in a situation where you want to get out of a job. Make sure you have someone else lined up, and then try to get that done in like as smooth as you possibly can in the same weekend, or whatever the case may be. Because if you don't have that happen, you might get messed up for a couple months.
I'll take your advice and make sure not to.
Because that happened with me before this job, and I was out of a job for like 2.5 months. The time before that, I was out of a job for 7 months. And I'm still kind of like the main breadwinner of the family. Great. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry to end on that somber note, but I just, like I said, there's a lot of things that I've been having on my chest and on my long hair, which I thought I said I was going to do something about it once upon a time. But yeah, as you can tell, I haven't had the chance to do a whole lot of things because one, I've been trying to stress myself out over things that might not be things worth stressing out over. Two, I've been trying to do some research, trying to make some other projects happen, trying to salvage some other things. Three, I've been binging a bunch of other things. And in four, Tears of the Kingdom is really freaking good, guys. Go ahead and play it if you have a Nintendo Switch and haven't had the chance to do it. If you don't know what the Legend of Zelda franchise is, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and play it. You will not regret it. I guarantee you it's going to be one of the best games of all time rated on Metacritic. I'm dead serious about that. So, thank you guys. And I will see you the next time that we are both available. Maybe some more people can come along and add some more ideas. Maybe you guys can add some more ideas with me. I don't know if the community thing fixed itself. If you guys can still comment on anything, because I remember D. Coleman saying that he couldn't comment on anything that I was posting, which really sucks, but I still don't know how to fix it. So let me know about that. And from there, we can move forward. So appreciate you guys. And we will see you next time.
Later.